So, a little over 2 months ago, I made a video about this ship, and I had plans of releasing more videos, but I didn't. So, it's a light interceptor, and it's called the Dagger Mark 1A. It goes from 0 to 100 meters per second in 9 seconds. It has 4 Gatling guns, a single rocket pod, and a gyroscope. And I also talked about having a couple different models, which I didn't show, but I'll show it to you now, 2 months later, and with probably not the same people watching, but nah, who cares? This is the Mark 1B, exactly the same on the little stat board, except it has a different color scheme, and it has atmospheric. I was fiddling around with colors when I made the first one, so I made this one a different color. I decided to scrap this color, and I never bothered to recolor it, and I still use that one. I actually got a friend to help me test this little ship over here, and it worked excellently, except for the acceleration, of course, which wasn't too good. I'll get onto that, which is, you can see a bunch of them in the background. I'll show you that later. This is the Mark 1C, which is a carrier-based light space bomber. Yes, you heard that right, it's a space bomber. I didn't bother making it into an interceptor because if I want a ship on a carrier, why, oh why, should it be just a simple fighter? Why do I want to destroy fighters and small ships from with a carrier? Why should I want that? Because if I have large ships like a carrier, I would also have a flak frigate, which is basically just a decently sized small ships with a bunch of rocket launchers on it. So that's why I have 2 Gatling launchers and 4 missile pods on this instead. Just so we can just strike larger ships. After making all of these, I decided to try and make a couple other interceptors because I am currently making 3 different factions of ships. There's the Ento shipyards, which, well, they're the supplier of the Norwegian armed forces. Guess where I'm from. And then there's the Blood Guard, which are basically pirate scum. And then there's a third one, which I'm not quite sure about yet, but I want there to be a third one anyways. I made a couple other interceptors to have the same idea behind them as this one. So I started making those 2, and then I tested them, and they were far superior due to the speed. Looks, however, I prefer this one. So I basically went ahead and ripped everything out of it in order to upgrade it. Which, so you know, there was barely anything left of it after that. But I forced everything in again, and I managed to, by sacrificing reactors, I managed to make this. A hydrogen-powered version called the Mark 2A. Yes. It also remedied another problem of the Mark 1, which was air supply. If you just had your suit air supply, so you had to have your helmet on in the cockpit, and if you wanted more air for longer missions, you would have to carry oxygen bottles. Not very good, so instead just put some ice in it and then just roll with it. So this one, instead of using 9 seconds to get to 100 meters per second, it uses 3. Everything else is the same. It also has more braking power, and an antenna, which the first one lacked. Also, small side note, these 3 ships have all have connectors because they're not supposed to land on planets. However, the carrier-based versions, I'll get onto that later, all have a landing gear simply due to the fact that, first of all, I can't have both a connector and landing gear on it at the same time. There's no space for that, and it's also because of the relatively small carrier I made, which can hold 12 of the C model. But it doesn't have any connector space for them to talk to, so you have to resupply it manually. Not the biggest problem, honestly, but you had to do it manually. So yeah, just a small side note. And then I thought, you know what, I'm gonna make a new atmospheric model. But after some testing, I realized that the Mark 1A, due to its hydrogen power, it could actually fly, well, have limited flying capabilities on planets. Yes, in planet atmospheres. However, you had to be angled like this the entire flight to counteract the downwards effect. So it was a bit odd to fly, and I decided that, you know what, I really like combat with the atmospheric mod. Wait, no, aerodynamic mod. Sorry, can't remember who made it. Sorry. So I made a winged version, basically the same, except it has two wheels on the back, a small one in the front, which is frictionless, so we can just slide back and forward with no problems. And I also put some wings on it, just because I wanted wings on it. So, you know, there you go. You can have wings on it. No problem. Except for that, it has all the same things. I actually had to remove the missile pod though in order to fit the front wheel. Might not be the most efficient atmospheric ship, but hey, who cares? Next one, which is the Mark II-C, which is the light space bomber slash carrier based version of the Mark II series. And there's actually a nice coincidence there with it being the C model for carrier. Yes, we like coincidences, don't we? It's basically the same as these, just upgraded from the Mark 1s, except its nose doesn't look like someone stubbed their toe. No. No. This looks like a duck, I find. I find it to look like a duck, and I prefer this way better to this stump little ugly thing on the front here. Yes. Apart from that, it's just the same. Also, side note, if you really wish a carrier-based, if you really want this as a carrier-based fighter, remove these missile pods and put in Gatlings. The conveyor system's still there. This is intentional. I'll get on it later. I'll explain it later. Next one is the Mark II drone, or D. See? More coincidences. Fun, isn't it? Which is basically just a fighter, well, a remote-controlled fighter of the ship. The reason for it having the carrier front, but not the carrier setup of weapons, is because it's just meant as a fighter. The shortened nose was because there's no cockpit there, so I didn't need it as long. And I had a different design for the front, which I tried out. Didn't look as good, and then I had the idea of just putting it inside the carrier front, and it just looked a whole lot better. So, you know, you could make it carrier based like the other one there as a light bomber by removing these Gatlings on the other side and using rocket pods, but I decided to just leave it as this, as a fighter, because that's the idea. Just a Mark 1 with an extra rocket pod, because why not, and a camera on it and remote control. There's also quite a bit of unused space in the front, but hey, it should be more solid there. Also, this really final ship I have to show you. Wait, no, there's two more, and thinking about it, I've tried recording this multiple of times, and you know, is this the 7th time? 8th? Jesus Christ on a bike. So this is the E model, also known as the Exterminator. Now this is an SPC interceptor. SPC stands for special. SPA stands for space. This is the special. It's also a space variant, but this is the special variant. Why? Well, 8 Gatlings, 2 missile launchers. Twice the firepower of the Mark IIA. Yes, Mark IIe is the ultimate of these variants. It might not be, well, at least the ultimate interceptor of these variants, and it is just amazing. Alright, can you just imagine the devastation of those on ships with these Gatlings? I mean, the idea came to me after making the drone model, where I realized that, hang on a second, I can fit 4 more Gatlings on this baby. And I did. And now it's really sexy. I'm I'm extremely happy with this family of ships. Just putting that out there. So incredibly happy. Couldn't be more happy with them. They just work excellently. This one in particular, because it just shreds small ships. Now you might be asking yourself, why would you not use this then? Why would you have the A model? Well, because I made the A model first, and also, you know, maybe you're not rich as Norway. Huh. Maybe you're a poorer country. Yes. Maybe you're Russia or somewhere. Wait, is Russia poor? No. Well, they have the resources. Never mind that. Maybe you're a poorer power, and you can't afford all the ammunition, or the extra Gatlings parts. You know. Also, the company could be saying that at a higher price. Yes. Well, that's role-playing things. You know, which is why you might not want this one, which is, well, I could think this eats through your ammo supply quite quickly. So, you know, that might be a reason. And we go on to the final one, which you might have noticed. A different colored variant. I was talking about this, I had factions, yes. And then it was the Blood Guard, yes. This is a Blood Guard captured version of the Dagger. And I'm planning to give them just completely different things. For example, look here. The F2 Activist, which is their own creation. Well, it should be. This is one of the interceptors I made to challenge the Dagger. It's slightly different than this, just bear in mind that. You know, I was quite happy with it. I wanted them to have like spikes and stuff all over the ships. So, you know, that's the whole idea of it. I was quite happy with it. It works quite well. It has the connector on the back instead of the bottom, which I think should be one of their traits on the ships. And to tweak it a little bit, and then it will be released. I'll make a video on it, but right now it will just be target practice for the E model. So this one is a captured one, and they use a different naming system, while the other ones use like Dagger Mark 1A or something. It's a British system. Yes, British World War II fighters. These use American systems. Yes. Not because Americans are scumbag, I just felt like giving them another system, and that's the one that popped to mind. So they called like F2, F4 the fighter, then it's, you know, this one is the second one, this one. They count backwards if there are captured ships. This is the first captured fighter they got. So that's why it's 99. They're counting down from 100. Counting down from 99. And then Dagger is a nickname instead. Yes. Like the bear cat or something. So, now I'm gonna just show you just the sheer power of the E model. Fire! And you liquidate it, and then just for fun, boom. There we go, look at that. You know, if you're going to make some, you know, if you're going to make yourself, it's just perfect for taking out other small ships. You know, missiles might be quite powerful, but you know, these Gatlings can do a whole lot more. You know, you might not take it out that quickly, seeing as most small ships move about, but still, that's quite a lot of destructive power. Now that I'm done with the ships, I will just have a few quick words. I am planning on making more videos, possibly every week. Just like 1 week I'll have like survival, space engineers or something, and the next week I will have a creation. So it will go back and forth, if I can find the time and motivation to do it, because honestly I'm quite lazy. So that's all, I guess. Also just want to point out, lovely skybox, you should definitely try it. It's the 4K Deep Space. Try it, it's brilliant. Just look at this, it's beautiful, it's simple. Burning bits of my enemies, looting in space there. So, I have been Ento, as my alias says, and I will see you, well, I'll probably see very, very few of you, if any, in the next video. But, oh well, you can always have hopes. Thank you for watching.